So I get out of the car, and then there's a rustling in the bushes.
This is my favorite part of the story.
And I hear, Juliet! Juliet! And I'm like, who are you? Like, I was so...
I would be scared.
I show up, I'm like, am I being set up?
Hello and welcome to another episode of Goddess Hangs.
Episode 74.
Woo! I'm Sadie.
And I'm Juliet.
Obviously. And we created Goddess Hangs podcast to make the world of mindset, manifestation, and magic more relatable
And fun.
Nailing the intro.
Nailing the intro together.
Nailed it. So this week we have like so much catching up to do. We decided, you know what? It's going to be like one big Sadie Juliet story time. And we're going to call it something along the lines of biggest lessons learned.
Yeah. Didn't see that coming.
What is the thing? Making lemonade when life hands you lemons.
Make lemonade.
Shit like that. You get it.
Yes.
So Juliet, should we start with your crazy story or do we want to like lead into it?
Let's lead into it. I want to hear what's new with you. And if you're watching the video, if you see my left eye twitching, I just want to say it has been doing it for hours. It is because I have been stressed.
And so you'll find out why.
So forgive me for my eye twitch.
I'm sure you can't see it.
So I'm just going to sit back, relax, and enjoy Sadie's story time for now.
Well, no, I have some lessons learned from what's new with me. So I went to see an Ayurvedic doctor.
Oh.
This is very exciting. Okay, so Craig and I are trying to invest more in our health. You know, we're both into like natural medicines, healing from the inside out, things like that. So we went to go see this incredible Ayurvedic doctor, and it was like the most magical experience of my life. Like one of the craziest experiences I've ever had. It was, okay, let me just get into it. Okay, so first of all, you walk into the Ayurvedic clinic and there's a beautiful altar with this like gigantic clear quartz crystal and all of this malachite, and I want so badly to touch it, but I know not to. And I'm like, ooh. So I'm like, I already love this place. It smells like herbs. You can just, the energy there is pristine. And then Dr. J comes out. He's just bubbly, friendly, funny, cracking jokes. And I was a little surprised. Craig and I go into our appointment together.
Oh.
I thought we were going to go one at a time, but Dr. J invited us in together.
Oh, that's nice.
I was like, I don't know, but it turned out fine. Craig has been to him before. His sister, Cynthia, is an Ayurvedic healer, and she does like facials and things. And so she used to work with him, which is how we like got referenced to go here, and he knew Craig and all of that. So we start out the appointment. Dr. J says, let's close our eyes. We're going to meditate for a moment together.
Dr. J.
And so we close our eyes and he starts singing.
Dr. J sounds a lot like me.
Dr. Juliet. Just these, I'm like, this man is a brilliant Ayurvedic doctor and has a stunning singing voice. Oh. Just the notes are hitting me in my soul. I'm feeling emotional. He sings these notes. I don't know what he's saying. And then he's like, please repeat after me. And it was something along the lines of, I invite the healing light into my body. I am committed to, healing. I am committed to myself. Like, just like beautiful way to start a doctor's appointment. So I'm loving everything already. I'm like kind of like trying not to laugh because I'm so giddy. I'm like, this is I've meant to be here, And so then I go first. And what he does, he says, Sadie, can I have your left hand? And he puts his hand on my pulse.
Show me.
So he's just doing this. This is all he's doing. Mind you, he has asked me for no medical history, absolutely no questions about what's going on with me, no questions to say, Sadie, what inspired you to make an appointment? Because there was a number of things. So he knows nothing. He has no information about me. He's feeling my pulse and he starts telling me my freaking life story from my pulse.
Okay, that's magic.
I was like, is this really the pulse, or are you like, I feel like you have to be psychic in some way.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I know it's like a thing. It's a part of Ayurvedic medicine. They learn to read your pulse, but it's not general what he's telling me. It's not like, okay, anxiety, okay, lack of focus, okay, digestion, okay. Like, he's getting really specific about my experience, and I'm just like, like, my eyes are big and my mouth is just open, and I'm like, like, he was like, mind-body connection, okay. So definitely dealing with some anxiety, and this stems from a lack of focus, and throughout the day you're very hard on yourself, and by the end of the day you're feeling you didn't get as much done as you wanted to get done, so now your anxiety has spiked and you go to bed anxious, and then you wake up in the morning. And I'm just like,
Dr. J,
how did you just describe every single day of my life to me? Like, how did you know that? And a slew of other things. He's telling me about my menstrual cycle, spot on. Telling me about like how I feel after I eat. Telling me about what was the other thing? Oh, I get cold sores, and I had a little one in my nose. I get them in my nose, strangely, which is painful, but you can't see them, which is nice. But you couldn't see it, and he told me, he was like, oh, do you have some sort of virus outbreak right now? And I was like, oh, I have a cold sore just from my freaking pulse, nothing else.
I need to pay a visit to Dr. J.
And he's just so sweet. I'm like, did you ever want to hang out? He's just so,
oh my God, we'll bring him on the pod.
Seriously, we should.
Oh my gosh,
he's incredible. And so he's just telling me everything. Insane. And then he's, gives me sort of like what, or asks me like, what are our short-term goals? What are the long-term goals? I'm like, I didn't think about long-term goals. Oh yeah, he's telling me stuff about like, oh, does this run in your family? And like, it's not something that's in my body right now, but he can tell that it runs in my family. Just bizarre. He's like, he said something about like heart stuff, and he's like, nothing's wrong with your heart right now. I can just sense that it's in your family. And I'm like, what the fuck? It was crazy. And then he did Craig, and I mean, we both started crying when he was doing Craig, because he was bringing up like, oh, when you were a child, this, like, spot on, just crazy. From your pulse. I want to know more. So I definitely want to learn more about Ayurveda. But anyways, so now Craig and I are on this pretty intense regimen. It's for a month, so we don't have to do this forever, but we have to drink this disgusting smoothie in the morning with this detox powder. It's like dandelion root, cilantro, basil, ginger. We're not supposed to add fruit, but I do, because otherwise I won't drink it, and it's better than not drinking it. So we have to do the smoothie, and then I have to take like pills before I eat, and then different pills after I eat, and then also drink this like not good powder after every single meal.
Health.
It's a lot. And my biggest, Craig and I both, our biggest issue is that we don't eat, like we wait to eat. We're like, oh, we're doing stuff, and then it's like 4 p.m. and we're like, shit, we haven't eaten today. And I know that's not good for me. I was just thinking of, shout out to Coach Jackie.
Coach Jackie.
At Hello Gains. You should all check her out. Hello, Gainz. Because she preaches all the live long day that we need to eat 3 meals a day. And it's not that I didn't believe her, but now I've been eating 3 meals a day because I have to take these pills. And he was like, Sadie, do you think that maybe you're anxious and can't focus because you're not feeding your brain? And I was like, yeah. Probably.
Oh.
So I've gone a full week of eating 3 meals a day. I haven't done that ever, I don't think. I can't, like, since I lived at home.
Oh.
I don't eat 3 meals a day. I eat 2 meals a day. Sometimes 1, which is really bad. Wow, what a difference that makes. So Jackie.
Jackie.
Everybody listen to Jackie. I wish I would have sooner. But anyways, so now I'm going to tell you all some personal information. And if you don't like number 2 talk, you might want to scroll ahead a minute or two, but I have to share.
Number 2 talk.
I have to share something because you guys are my best friends. and it's just too incredible not to share. I have to because, oh my God. Okay, so
this week on Goddess Things, shit hits the fan. In more ways than one.
You can put a little poop emoji on the thumbnail. Okay, so let me tell you. Okay, it was just so the point of what we're doing for a month. It's a detox. So there's also certain foods we're not eating right now too.
So in terms of mindset, magic, and manifestation, this is going to fall into the magic category.
It is. Who knew how magical it could be to eat 3 meals a day and eat some powders and what happens to your body? So basically, the reason I'm not eating certain foods is because all this stuff I'm taking is clearing out everything that's stuck in there. And fixing my gut microbiome and all of that stuff. So the first 3 days of this detox were intense.
Okay.
I had headaches. I was so sleepy. I would like wake up and make my healthy food and take my pills and like go back to sleep. That's all I could do. I was like,
I've never felt better.
This is great. But I was like, great, I'm detoxing, obviously. And yeah, the headaches were gnarly. I rarely have issues with headaches. Like, it was very much the detox. But, oh my God. I had to call Craig because he was out of town. And I was like, babe, I'm sorry. I know we don't talk like this. And I pretend that I don't poop, but I have to tell you something. I was like, you will not believe what happened this morning. You guys, I don't know how to say this and not be too gross. I took the biggest shit of my life.
Describe an animal.
Okay, here's the thing. This is what happened. A snake.
There it is.
When you have a healthy poop, it comes out in like just one long piece, right?
I get those maybe once a year.
Yeah.
I'm not well.
Yeah. No, I wasn't either. I was not pooping healthy. Okay, we're getting into it. Number 2 talk. And so not only was it a healthy poop, but it was, you guys, it was so long. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I was looking at it. I was like, and I've been looking every day because it's still pretty incredible. I'm like, I think 100% of what I put in my body is coming out. I'm eating so much food. I can't, is this what's going to consistently happen? So I've been taking the biggest shits of my life.
Oh my God.
And they're manifested. And like multiple times a day. I'll have like 2 big shits in a day.
Oh my God.
It's crazy, you guys. I have this new thing that I'm like, dude, pooping is my favorite thing in the world. Nothing feels better than a huge shit. Nothing.
I had the opposite experience like 2 weeks ago. I think 5 days went by and I was in so much pain.
Oh, that's the worst.
I finally had to pop something up there.
Yeah. When I used to struggle a lot with constipation, and then I've been regular, but then like I can just tell it's not what should be, you know? Like I'm like, well, my gut's getting better, but it's not. It wasn't what it should be, and now, holy smokes! So
I need to go to this doctor.
You really should.
He'll just take one look at me and be like, "Whoa, you're backed up."
We got to get that out. It is crazy. I mean, the first 2 days. Or it was like the second and third day of the detox. Like one day went by and the second and third day, like I could not believe it. And like I could not stop talking about it to Craig. I like kept, and he was like, this is honestly the best days of my life. Like my girl talking to me about her poop, but you just cannot stop talking about it. I'm like, because it's unbelievable, babe. I've never seen anything like this. I can't believe this is my body doing it. It's like a miracle. So 1,000 out of 10 would recommend going to an Ayurvedic doctor.
Dr. J.
And Dr. J is located in Long Beach. So if you are in the like literally Southern California, it's worth traveling to him. And I think after like that initial consultation where he feels your pulse, you can do like virtual consults with him to like check in how everything's going. We're going to see him again it's like 40 days from the time we saw him. So like after the detox is done to like figure out what we want to do moving forward. That's like going to be much less intensive. But I cannot tell you, after those first few days of feeling really sick and really awful and really tired and like really irritated, I have never felt better. And my skin is glowing. I feel like I'm having really good hair days, and I don't know if that's just my attitude.
I'm over here. My eye will not stop twitching.
We're gonna schedule Juliet an appointment when we're done
of
here.
Health.
And I have more energy. Craig and I are getting along so seamlessly and good. Like we can both get pretty irritated, which is because we don't eat, and then we get irritated because we're so hungry, and then we eat and we're fine. Wow, what a wonder it does for your relationship to eat 3 times a day. But our moods have just been so good. Like my mental health has been so affected, and I've been able to focus better. Everything in every area of my life feels like it's going better. Good. It's just crazy. And yeah, I can't believe what's been coming out of my body. It's a miracle. It's a Christmas miracle.
It's a Christmas miracle.
It's a Mother's Day miracle.
Aww, a gift from beyond.
So that's what's new with me. Just been pooping.
This sounds like my normal what's new with me. Like Sadie's like, I rode on a giraffe and then went to a foreign land and I had an amazing encounter with a man. And then like mine's like, I don't know, I cleaned. And
then this time I'm like, I've been pooping, and you're like, my car got stolen. Spoiler alert. So Julia, what's new with you?
Oh, well, I've had a week. So I'll just take us through the whole story because it's just unbelievable on top of more unbelievable. And I know the theme of this week is life lessons.
Yes.
I'm not sure what the lesson is here, but we're going to find it out along the way.
Yes.
I wish my eye would stop twitching. Okay. I'm not even insecure about it. Like I wish it just looked weird and didn't feel weird. So deep breath. Anyways, on Sunday at 3:30 p.m., Victor came home from work. He loaded his gear out of the car. He brought it up into our condo. We're hanging out. We're making smoothies. We're sitting on the patio. We're looking at the tree. We're having this beautiful day, unbeknownst to us. As we're like listening to country music and drinking our smoothies and having a nice time. A man walks into our gated, secure garage, follows in a resident. They use their clicker, come into the garage, and this man follows in on foot, breaks into Victor's car, and our cars are tandem parked, steals his cologne, a battery brick, a knife, and then, lucky duck, finds my car keys in the console. Because we're tandem parked, my keys were in his car so he could move my car.
I didn't know that part of the story.
Yep.
Oh.
So, and of course, everybody after this happens is like, well, you should never. I'm like, thank you. This is not helpful.
There's your life lesson, Juliet. Don't put your keys in your boyfriend's car. Whew, glad we got that uncovered.
Everybody all of a sudden becomes the wise sage of car to do and not to do after something happens. Or they say things like, well, it could have been worse.
Yeah, no shit.
I'm like, yeah, like
but
anything
what happened
could have been
does
worse.
suck. Just tell me that.
Okay, let's get into that. So the person stole the keys and then proceeded to do, like, because the cars next to us weren't in their spots, do like an 18-point
wasn't
turn.
yours inside?
Yeah, mine
So
was in the front.
Should have been freaking safe.
Yeah, but the car that's next to us that is always there was not there that day. I've never seen that car
perfect
not
storm.
there. It was a perfect storm. But what was so weird is that the man beeline directly to my car. He didn't like wander through the lot and like go through it. He went straight to my car. It was very odd. I don't know who it is. We have the surveillance footage, and he hit Victor's car a number of times to like maneuver my car out, and then he just drove away, and he waited till somebody else came in, which happened at the perfect time, and then he drove out. 90 seconds later, me and Victor walked down to get in his car to go to the market. It was the weirdest, like, just missed him thing.
It was very spooky. I saw the surveillance footage.
It's very spooky. So we go downstairs, we throw out the trash, we get into Victor's car, and he goes, "Where's your car?" And my knee-jerk reaction is to start, like, hysterically laughing.
Oh, I would have done the same.
Just like, what? Like, I'm losing it. I'm like, did I not park it here? Did I not bring it home? I'm like, we are crying laughing.
I would have done the same. Absolutely.
And we're like, well, we have to file a police report, but we need to go to the market, and the car's already gone, so we just go to the market.
Juliet sends me a video from the market of like the phone's down here, and she's just walking through, and she's like, yeah, so my car got stolen. I'm gonna finish grocery shopping and then report it. I'm kind of in denial right now. And I was like, what? Oh my God.
So we're going to the market. My heart is pounding. It really like spikes your adrenaline when you're robbed. And I've never been robbed before, so I'm now part of the club. Anyways, so it was the biggest pain in the butt. So we're at the market, and I call 911. They're like, we have to connect you to your local police station. Voicemail.
Oh my God.
I call 3 other police stations. Nobody answers. Finally, a 4th station answers, and they're like, oh, yeah, you can just do it over the phone. Call this number. Nobody answers. Call back that station. No, you have to go in person. I said, so if you're telling me, I said, I'm not upset at you, but I've now received instructions from multiple people that are all incorrect, and nobody's answering. So you're telling me if I show up to this station in my neighborhood, it is open and somebody will be there to collect the report. You're telling me that? They said yes. We go to that station, it's closed.
Oh my
God.
God.
Walking up to that station, a very big grasshopper jumps right in front of me and stops, like right in front of me. And because this was such a spooky time, I was like, this voice told me, like, just pay attention to everything that happens, because there's like little messages here. So this big, massive grasshopper, and I'm stopped, and I'm like, Victor, look at this. He's like, we need to make the report.
Did you look up what a grasshopper means?
Yes.
Later?
It's about moving forward, because they cannot jump backwards. They can only move forwards.
Oh, interesting.
So it's about like, just take the next step, just keep moving forward. And it's also abundance and good luck.
Okay.
So that station's closed. We get back into the car. There's a police officer outside the station. I'm like, this is perfect. Officer, my car has been stolen with my valuables in it. Help. He goes, oh, call 911.
You're like, you don't think that was the first fucking thing I did?
So then we had to drive far away to the Hollywood station, because it was the only station in greater Los Angeles that's open 24/7. And it was 6 p.m. It's not like it was 3 a.m.
Because it was Sunday, or?
I guess
They all
crime
closed?
takes a break.
I'm a little concerned about this now.
Yeah. So there's more concerning things about the police coming up. So we make the report. It was super spooky. There's like all these portraits on the wall of like officers who died in the line of duty. And I'm like feeling their energy. And there's like a man screaming behind the door somewhere. And it was just
I have goosebumps right now.
And there was one picture in particular, and I just felt like I just felt this energy from these officers of like, ma'am, we're gonna help you. Like from the ones who had passed away. It was very weird. I felt more supported from them than the ones who were alive.
They're like, we'll take care of
No
this.
shade, okay?
These young bucks don't know what they're doing around here.
And so they said, oh yeah, like we usually find cars, we run plates all the time. And in my heart of hearts, I knew, I was like, the police are not gonna find my car.
I have heard so many times, like, if your car is stolen, especially I feel like in like LA, New York, somewhere big, like,
Yeah.
it's fucking gone.
It's gone.
I've heard that from so many people.
I was like, it is being torn apart as we speak.
Yeah.
They have sold the tires.
That's what
They have
they do,
pulled
yeah.
I truly was like, it's in a chop shop. Like, that's it. But I did get this nudge to download the neighborhood app. And I said, I put a picture of the car and I said, my car has been stolen. It's a super rare car. And it is a super rare car. They only made the car for 2 years and then they discontinued the car.
Oh, wow.
There's like maybe 3 in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And it's not like a collector's edition. It's just a rare
Yeah.
car. And I've been driving it since I was 15.
Wow.
And it's just been this extremely reliable, like the interior is beautiful. Like it's a nice car, even though it's very old. So I said, here are the first 3 numbers of the license plate. Here's what the car looks like. Here's where it was last seen. Like if anybody sees anything, like you'll know that it's mine. Let me know. And then I completely surrendered. I was like, there is nothing else I can do. I did the police report. I contacted my insurance. I had to go to a notary. What was more inconvenient than the car missing was the amount of steps you have to take when your car is stolen.
Yeah.
Like they get a joyride and I have detectives calling me. Like it's never gonna end. So I let it go and I'm like, you know what, whatever. I get this beautiful rental car. I'll have to show it to you. It's so cute. It's a Nissan Rogue. Oh. It's fabulous. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And I'm already getting in the headspace of like, okay, like I guess I'll just get a new car.
Yeah, yeah.
So then we find out that there's a DA who lives in our building who works in connection with the station that is supposed to be helping look for my car. And the HOA guy said, Dimitri and Anna, who live in this unit, want to help you. Like, bring the police report. They'll write an email, whatever. So we go over to Dimitri and Anna thinking we're going to stay for 15 minutes. I didn't tell you any of this.
Oh, no. This is
okay. So this is what came out of this. And the story will continue. Spoiler alert, I now have an amazing new friend.
Oh.
Okay. So we go to their place. And they're, oh, I'm so sorry this happened. The guy's like, I feel so bad. I'm the one who preaches to make sure the gate closes behind you. He goes, I'm the one who drove in and let the guy in. I said, oh my, he goes, I feel so guilty. I'm like, it's not your fault.
No, there's nothing he could have done.
So we're there for a little bit. We're filling out the information. Can you believe this happened? Wow, I can't either. What do you guys like to do for fun? Victor's like, oh, I do photography. Dimitri goes, I'm a photographer. Starts bringing out his 18 cameras. The boys are getting into it. He's like, I filmed videos of my wife dancing on different rooftops, including this one. Put them on the screen. Here, we're all watching videos of Anna dancing. Then out come the tequila shots. Oh. We're doing shots of tequila. Then they're inviting us here, inviting us there. Just unbelievable. The night, I think we were there for 3 hours until I finally looked at Victor and I said, we have to get out of here. Like, I'm so exhausted. This could go on all night. Then the tea comes out. I mean, it was so sweet. Aww. They were so fun. So that happens, whatever. Go home, went to bed. The next morning, I get a ping from the neighborhood app, and this man named Dan says, here's your car as of 5 minutes ago. Here's a picture of it. It's at this motel, at this address, and it was like 7 minutes from my house.
Shout out Investigator Dan.
So I show up at this motel by myself, dressed for a Goddess Higgs episode.
Yes, This is my part of the story. I was getting my eyelashes done and had fallen deep to sleep. I just got done. I woke up and Juliet also goes to Christina, shout out. And Christina goes, oh, Juliet's not coming. Her car was found. And I was like, what? Because I assumed it was gone, and I was excited to be like, oh, we manifested a new car and like make the most of it with you, you know? And I was just like, what? So we're recording on a Friday this week, and not Wednesday.
It's Venus Day. Ooh. So I get to this motel, and I want you to picture me with my iridescent shoes, my hot pink pants, my little tiny crop top, my nice jewelry, my pearls, my diamonds, and I'm in this. I am like a sitting duck, and this motel has the most interesting cast of characters.
The story really does, yes.
So I'm in this lot, and I'm telling Victor, like, you need to come be here with me. Like, the police, and the police had me on hold for like 35 minutes. Like, I couldn't get through to anybody. And so, okay, let me back it up. So I show up to this lot. I try to block the car in, so because they have the key.
Yeah.
So if they came back, they could have just driven it away. And my car alone is not going to block it in because of where they parked it. So I get out of the car, and then there's a rustling in the bushes.
This is my favorite part of the story.
And I hear, Juliet! Juliet! And I'm like, who are you? Like, I would
be scared.
I show up, I'm like, am I being set up?
Yeah.
And this guy goes, it's me, Dan, from the neighborhood app. I'm the one who let you know your car's here. And so I walk over to these bushes. I'm like, hello? It's me. And I said, so like, do you live here? What's happening? And so there's a cinder block wall that's low, and then all these bushes, and then behind it is an apartment, and he's like in his apartment's yard looking through. I still have no idea what this man looks like.
When you were telling me this story, we didn't talk about how there was it was a wall in a yard. So I just pictured Dan crouching in the bushes, not wanting to be seen for some reason.
But he didn't want to be seen. And me, this might have been a dumb thing to do, but I was like, oh my God, I'm scared. Can I come wait with you? And he's like, I don't think you should. I think you should not, because he's like, I don't want to get involved.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew he was legitimate, that he was like, no, like, you're a young woman, like, stay over there. So he's like, I called the police. He was the first one to call the police. He's like, they're on their way. So then Victor, I said, you have to get over here. Like, I'm alone in this motel parking lot. It's just a very seedy situation. And he's like, I just texted Anna and Dimitri to let them know that you found the car, so maybe they can get an officer out here. Well, they did try that, but then also Anna texts me, who I've been friends with for all of 48 hours, and is like, I'm on my way. So Anna gets into her car and dashes over, and she rolls up in her BMW, and she gets out, and she's like, what is this place? Like this, and she has this like beautiful Russian accent, and she's like interrogating the motel owner. What's your name? Do you have a card? Who got out of this car? Like, she's totally interrogating everybody. And it's just like this bizarre event. So it's me, it's Anna, Victor shows up, then the helicopters come, then the police come, and then when the police come, out comes Dan's hand from the bushes, and this female officer goes, who's in the bushes? I said, oh, that's Dan, he helped. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna go talk to him really quickly.
Oh, so that's just Dan in the bushes. Oh hi, gosh. Boo.
Speaking of hungry, I'm like shaking. I'm so hungry. We'll have to like make this a shorter episode.
Yeah, we will.
So the police go over, they investigate the car. They had left like Domino's pizza, napkins, sodas, a vape, lipstick, a knife, the ugliest lamp I've ever seen. Was it Victor's knife that was stolen?
It was a different knife.
It was
very
called
interesting.
Something Leatherman.
Oh.
I guess you open it and it has like all sorts of tools on it.
Oh.
And the gas tank was like totally had gas. There was plenty of gas. So I think they were going to come back
for it. They were like, oh man, someone stole our car.
I know. And I really, because I was waiting for so long, wanted to just drive the damn car home.
Yeah.
But if they run your plates and the car looked very stolen, they would have like held me up at gunpoint, like, get out of the car. So it was like, no, just wait.
You're like, I stole it back. It's my car.
Yeah, I stole the stolen car. So anyways, long story short, me, Anna, Victor, motel owner, a cast of interesting characters. Dan's wife showed up in the bushes. She said, I'm happy you're here, but please don't hit the hummingbird nest. I was like, oh. I'm sorry, because it was like above my head. And yeah. So anyways, I think I'm also just shaking my body. It's just still processing this whole bizarre thing.
Yeah.
So the car is completely scratched up. They tore off the license plate. They scratched off anything that had the make and model of the car.
Yeah.
And they scratched up some other stuff as well. And I really think they were planning on coming back. Oh, there was a stolen wallet in my car from like an old man. Like it was just so sad. So we brought the car home. I bought a steering wheel lock because they still have the key and they know where I live. And there's some other safety precautions we took to both of our cars that I won't say. But now I got the car home. I cleaned it. I smoke cleansed it. The outside's going to get all cleaned up. But yeah, the car came back.
The car came back.
Thanks to Dan in the bushes.
Shout out to Dan.
So I want to say, this is a wonderful time to rely on your community. Because the police, from my understanding, are, in my region at least, are very understaffed. I mean, every car has the sticker that says, we're hiring, join the force, we're hiring, join the force. So, and it was just very obvious and very evident. But yeah, it was just bizarre that we missed him by 90 seconds and that the car was found and for sure they were going to come back. They were they had left too much of their stuff in it.
Tank if they're stealing,
Like usually
gas is too expensive right now for them to fill up a gas tank all the way and be like, we'll leave the car.
I know. So I got my baby back.
Aww.
And then last night for Cinco de Mayo, we went out with Anna and Dimitri and we had the best time. We were dancing and we had some drinks and yeah. So I told her, I said, I lost my car, but I gained a friend.
And life lesson is sometimes when you lose something, you gain even more.
I sort of felt like even though stuff happens, sometimes something good can come out of it.
Yeah.
Like even though there's a person walking free at this moment, I do believe karma will get him, who is stealing cars and stealing wallets and doing things. And it makes us think like, oh, the world is full of bad people. My whole building came together to help.
Yeah.
Like it was I felt so supported, like in so many ways. And I felt, I don't know, just to have another, like we're so close with our downstairs neighbors and to now have somebody else in the building that we like really love and trust and who like left work to show up to be there with me because she did not want me alone in this motel lot. I don't know. I was just like, okay, something really wonderful came out of this. Yeah. It's a Cinderella story if I've ever heard one.
The car's gonna get a glow up.
I know, it will.
It's fabulous.
Yeah.
It's quite the story, Juliet.
I know.
Maybe the wildest story we've ever had on Goddess Hanks. Besides my poop. Just kidding.
No, I think it's a tie.
What was the other wild story? Me?
Probably something you've done.
I'm like, which one?
But it was just so weird. And it was so weird because remember a couple weeks ago, I was like having these Hera communications and the number 17 appeared on my ceiling. And then the time that we walked down the stairs, the timestamp was 1717.
Oh.
It's just weird, like almost like protective.
Yeah,
because here's the thing. If we had gone downstairs and Victor had seen this man, he would have attacked him.
Yeah, and that would have been bad.
And then Victor would have gone to jail and it would have been a whole thing.
Yeah.
And like, we avoided that.
Yeah.
And like, that would have been nasty. And then that guy probably would have sued us.
Or like he would have hurt Victor because he just stole a knife out of his car and something would have happened or something. You just don't know.
Those
people aren't, I don't think he was probably someone doing violent crimes if he was stealing wallets and stealing cars. But like, you don't know how people are going to react.
Hi, Boo Girl. Come on
when
out.
They're caught and threatened, you know. Boo's here. Boo's been very snuggly today.
Come on, I missed you. I missed you very much. So, yeah. And then she kept telling me, she was like, stop worrying about it. It's not a big deal. It was like this weird attitude of like...
It's not a big deal.
I was like, well, what am I going to do? She's like, don't worry about it. You don't need it right now. It's fine. It's just weird.
It's weird.
So the car came back. The car's back, Boo Girl. Isn't that exciting?
Car's back. Boo's here. All is balanced and right in the world.
I made a friend. I met a grasshopper. I met
a big grasshopper.
Yeah. But I think it can be like dangerous to tell people like everything happens for a reason. Like it's God's plan. Like not always.
I like am more of the school of thought, if you will, of like it's up to us to find the reason and to like decide the bad shit that happens to us if we want to take a look at it and go, this is what I'm going to learn. This is how I'm going to empower myself. This is how I'm going to move forward differently. Like, I think it's not like maybe some stuff does happen for a reason and it's like the universe's plan or whatever. And sometimes I think it's like bad shit happens and we can decide we want to find a reason and glow up from it, if you will. But yeah, I don't like people's answer of saying like, oh, well, everything happens for a reason. I think, yeah, what you said is dangerous. It's shitty. It's like, okay, well, tell me the fucking reason then, like, for some stuff,
or for even more horrible things, like if people become ill or something, you know what I mean? Somebody passes away, like, there doesn't always have to be, it wasn't like it was meant, I don't know. I just feel like what good can come out of something? Like, where can we see the silver lining? Like, where can you see the helpers?
I've been, and I talked a little bit about this already, but like it's the week, well, when this episode comes out, it'll be the day after Mother's Day, but I always feel my grief heavier like the week leading up to stuff like that. And then the day of is fine. But I've definitely been feeling my grief more this week. And, you get all these emails, what to buy your mom for Mother's Day and stuff, whatever. But I was just thinking about how like, yeah, like if someone was like, well, Sadie, everything happens for a reason, I'd be like, fuck you. But I am very adamant to make sure that I make a reason of it, of like, okay, well, this happened. There's nothing I can do about it. And so I'm going to find lessons in it and I'm going to grow and I'm going to be a better person because it happened. And I've said it before, but like, I'm so much happier and healthier than I was before I lost my mom, and that seems weird, but it's because it gave me this gigantic shift in perspective that took me years after her passing. Like, don't get me wrong, I grieved in very unhealthy ways when it first happened. For years I pretty much just like partied and numbed it out, but it was the first stepping stone, the domino that fell that led me to where I am now. Like, I don't think that maybe I would have found this part of me, but I think it would have taken longer. I think that really like sped up my timeline of finding myself and finding what I wanted to create. And I don't know if I'd live here or have ever met you or Craig or all of the amazing things I do here in LA. So, and all the opportunities we have, I don't think I would have left Wisconsin because me and my mom were so close. And don't get me wrong, I love my other family members, but it's just a different bond. And so, I was trying to process my grief journaling the other day, and I had this weird moment of like, do I feel, I think sometimes, I don't know what to make of this. We'll say it out loud in case anyone else ever feels like this. But like, I think about how I would not have the life I have now if she hadn't passed. More than anything in the world, I want my mom to be alive. And I love my life so much right now. And I would grieve not having this, I guess. Like, not as much as not having my mom, but I don't know. I almost have this like sense of guilt of like, I know the best way to honor her is to love my life as much as I love it now. But sometimes it's like, do I love my life so much that I'm like happy that happened and it led me all here? And like, the answer is no. I'm not happy that happened. Right. But the truth of the matter, the point I'm trying to get to is like, I decided to make there be a reason for it, but that was my choice to say, this is the reason. I'm making the reason, not that someone else said it. That would have pissed me off. So whatever it is that you're dealing with, we all have our things we grieve, the challenges, the traumas that we've been through, it's up to you if you decide that that calls to you to say, okay, I'm going to make a reason of that. And I think that's why really the message I wanted to say in this episode, like, big life lessons, they suck. Right. They are not fun. We all go through them, but it's up to us if we decide to say, okay, this is what I'm going to take from this situation. This is how I'm going to put the positive spin on it. This is the lesson I'm going to take. This is how I'm going to do things differently, be a better version of me, whatever the process looks like. And that's what I'm really passionate about, is just saying, like, all right, well, I don't have control of the shitty stuff that happens to me, but I have control of how I react and how I heal from it.
I think that's everything. And it's an interesting, what is it, like a duality to be such a big believer in manifestation, because I am, and I'm a believer in this universal law that sometimes stuff just happens.
Oh yeah, shit happens.
Because it breaks my heart when people are so deep into manifestation that like something like this could happen, and it's like, oh well, you called that in, like that was on
like
you.
Oh, Juliet, what did you do that you attracted somebody stealing your car?
And I think it just happened.
Yeah.
I think I attracted getting it back.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's...
Well, and I think it's kind of funny because, like, sometimes shit will kind of go haywire. Like, you haven't really been adamantly calling in a new car that I know of.
No.
So I don't think this is what happened in this case. But I think it's kind of funny, like, how you'll sometimes can learn a lesson in, like, being specific, because you can be like... When I was getting rid of my car, I kind of joked. I was like, I kind of just want someone to steal it, because I'd probably get more from insurance than what I'm junking it for or whatever. But like, you can be like, I really want a new house. And then like something goes haywire with like renewing your lease and you're forced out of your home or whatever it is. So sometimes we can manifest funky situations.
Yeah.
But it's because it's like, it's the push we need to like get what we actually want. I don't think that's what happened in this situation.
I started to think, oh, maybe it is, when it wasn't going to come back.
Yeah.
But now it's back. Although this rental is a really smooth ride.
Hey, maybe it is time for you to...
I don't know. We'll see.
Get a new car.
We'll see. Oh, this is the part. This was what cracked you up when I told you.
Oh my God. Oh, yes. Okay. So Julia is telling me, there was some new parts to the story, but we're FaceTiming the day after, like, everything was happening, and Juliet just keeps telling me over and over again, tell everyone what you were most excited about.
They didn't steal my CDs. All of my, I was like the car, I'm like, whatever, I'll get a new car. But I was devastated because I'm like, oh my God, all my original Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys, Christina Aguilera, like the original CDs that I had as a child, I kept in my car in a Pokemon CD case.
That cracked me up. Juliet was sitting on FaceTime hugging her, and I was like, Pokemon, really?
Well, my grandma gave it to me when we went on a trip. She gave me this Pokemon CD case and a Walkman cute. With headphones. And I was like, I must have been maybe 8 years old, and I remember...
I'm the coolest bitch on the block.
I was. I remember like organizing it and listening on the plane and being like, I am so cool.
Oh my gosh.
And
I remember clipping my little CD case to my pants, being like, I'm mobile, baby.
Yes. I was, and the officer was there with me, and I was like, oh, they didn't take my CDs. And she was like, okay. And then she was so sweet. She goes, I mean, you did have some good ones in there. I was like, thank you. But then I noticed I also had some original Juliet Piper CDs.
Yes.
Which I was kind of insulted they didn't take those. I'm like, these are going to be worth a lot of money someday.
You know what? They were going to, but they didn't have a CD player.
They didn't have time to steal mine out of my car. It was just so bizarre.
Me and Juliet were FaceTiming for like a solid hour because we were doing some work, and she just kept sporadically going, I have my CDs back. I can't believe it. I'm so happy. I was like, yes,
my CDs.
I'm really happy for you.
Oh my God.
Brittany's back. Christina's back.
They took like hundreds of dollars worth of clothing and like our event tent, and I didn't even care as long as I had my CDs.
If you see a hot pink event tent with somebody who doesn't look like they would have that, call 911. No, just kidding.
No, don't call them. They'll give you some tood.
Yeah. Oh my God, I can't believe that circle you had to go around. Call 911. And then 18 calls later, did you try calling 911?
And then in person, you have to call 911. And then I kept being put on hold for 20 minutes. So finally I called again and I'm like, I can't get through to somebody. I'm alone in this sketchy parking lot and I feel like they're going to come back. And this person was like, ma'am, this is for a life-threatening emergency only. I'm like, this is kind of spooky. Like, is it like I want the police here? Anyways, the officers who showed up were really lovely and kind and helpful, but they did not take any fingerprints. They said, all right, here's your car. Have a nice day.
I mean, if this guy's like a regular thief, that probably would have been the simplest way to, but I don't know, does it have to be a certain, I mean, I think a car theft is a very big crime, so you would think Why not just give it a shot? I know cars can have so many fingerprints or whatever.
Well, they're not going to get any now.
But it's just like yours and his.
I cleaned the interior so pristinely.
Yeah.
I put selenite in the car.
Good. We should get you some black. Did you do some black crystals?
Yep.
Yeah. Protection.
I took the CDs out. I'm not risking that again.
I was going to say, one lesson we learned is not to put your CD collection in the car.
Because also, if they're stolen, the car insurance will not cover CDs.
Very specific.
Yeah, they're like, we'll cover up to X amount of money of things that were stolen in the car, but not the CDs. And I was like, of course. But me and Sadie are working and I'm like, oh, the Jessica Simpson Christmas album. Rejoice, the Christmas album. It's here. Jessica Simpson in this skin. They didn't take it. Hilary Duff metamorphosis.
It's all
is
there.
okay. I was like able to sleep once I got my CDs back. This sounds like the dumbest thing in the world, but it was like, I'm a songwriter. That was like my introduction to like that as a child. And I was like, no, they took it.
Yeah, I get it. I've only had my car broken into once and there was nothing in my car. So I had, because I kept like sage and incense in my car. So they like stole the lighter that I had with my little tin with, but they left the other stuff. And they had just like kind of like all the stuff in my glove compartment was all over. And then honestly, my trunk was full of stuff because I had just moved. And like, I don't know if they took anything, but they had gone through it all and most of it was still there. So I don't know. I feel like it was, maybe they took like an outfit. Maybe it was someone who didn't have a home and just wanted a couple things and then didn't have, anywhere to put a bunch of stuff. But it was just violating, it's just creepy. Like, ooh, someone was in here.
There's a part of me, because I don't know how they're going to like replace, because on the side where like the type of car, they scratched it out. And they haven't made the car in 12 years. So I'm like, I wonder if they can just take it off completely, smooth it. And then I'm like, maybe I can wrap the car in like an iridescent thing. And I'll get my iridescent car.
Craig's got a guy that does the car wraps. But I will say it's already peeling off.
Oh.
Because we've hit stuff, though.
Oh.
Like any scratch, then if it's a different color underneath, it shows through. We should have just wrapped it in the same color to cover the old scratches, which I said. This man goes for a matte black wrap on a white Kia. I'm like, matte is cool if you have a nice car. And no offense if any of you have matte cars, but I don't care for it.
It's not for me.
I have to drive this matte black Kia, and now it has scratches in it because Craig is careless. And I'm not a perfect driver either, but he just doesn't pay attention. And then wherever it scratches, it's white, and plus you can see the little like string of like the thing.
I could paint it hot pink and have a hot pink car, because then no one's gonna steal it because it'd be so obviously easy to find.
Yeah, I mean iridescent too,
right?
Yeah.
So maybe I'll have a little
wrap
fun.
It. Why not?
The,
just don't scratch it. But also, whatever. It's an older car. Like, I don't know how much it costs to wrap. I think it's actually pretty pricey. A fan did it for him, so it was not pricey. But
sweet.
Sorry, I didn't like it.
What a week! It was less about magical moments and more about finding the good in a tornado of a situation.
Yes.
And I am of course grateful that nobody was hurt.
Yes.
That the car came back. And you know what? This was kind of funny. More people reached out to me and replied to my stories for this thing than anything I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
Anything I've ever shared, anything I've ever celebrated, any birthday even. More people reached out, and I was telling Victor, I'm like, this is so strange. Like, people really care. And they said, yeah, well, they can relate to that. Like, it could have easily been their car. He's like, otherwise, not many people could relate to you and the things that you do. I'm like, oh, that's true.
Also, though, we have this like human like morbid curiosity. We want to be a part of it.
I know. Everybody was like, I'll repost. I'm gonna look for I'm gonna find the car,
and then they can tell the story of their friend's car who got stolen. Like, and I am so guilty of this too. Like,
yeah,
I'm not hating on anyone who does this.
No.
And it does come from love and care, but we love to be a part of the drama. I feel like.
Oh my gosh, I was everybody's drama this week. Between that and Kim Kardashian wearing Marilyn Monroe's actual dress, yes. I first thought, oh, that's cute. She got a replica. No, it's the actual dress.
Yeah.
Historians and what are they, conservationists?
I think
archivists.
That's for environment. But something, it'd be the same idea.
Okay. Very upset about this like situation.
That, sure. Well, she lost 16 pounds in 3 weeks to fit in that.
That's
not healthy.
No.
Nobody do that.
No.
I mean, maybe she went to an Ayurvedic doctor and shit her brains out.
No, she didn't say
I haven't
that
lost any weight. I actually don't know. I haven't weighed myself in like a decade. I have no idea. But but I couldn't believe that. I did find interesting.
I was like, couldn't you just make it a little bigger?
Well, that would have really made people mad if you altered it in any way, you know? That was sort of like, yeah, she had to fit in it or not. But so I don't think this goes around as much anymore, but there was a time when everyone was like pointing to Marilyn Monroe in the body positivity movement for being like someone who was like curvier and bigger, and they were like, oh, she was a size 10 or something.
No, she wasn't.
So if you are someone who has ever like shopped for like vintage clothing, the clothing sizes were very different back then. So she may have been that size, but in modern day sizes, she was like a 2.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of funny how that was. I always saw it, at least, where people would like quote like, you know, like she was a size 10.
Yes.
Like beauty standards have changed. Like now we make it be that everyone has to be so skinny, but back then we used to appreciate a woman's body, and it was like, and we've made a long way. This was years ago, so now we've made a long way. There's still a lot of pressure on women's bodies, but I think we've come a long way in that process. But yeah, like no, that Marilyn Monroe was tiny.
I remember I had this season of time when I was like obsessed with her, and I checked out every book and I watched every documentary, and I, you know, and then I got into like what's her name, like the Black Dahlia, like then I was getting into all the crime, but anyways, but I read all these books on her, and I remember hearing that same thing of like, oh, she was a size 10 and all these things, but in the books it would say what her measurements were.
It's like, it was like
really
36
teeny.
24 or 34 24 36 or something. She had a 24 waist, which is a 0, I think.
Yeah, it's teeny tiny. And so I was like, I remember when I read all that, I was like, she wasn't a size 10.
Yeah.
Or at least what we know today as a size 10.
Well, I don't think at all it was more body positive back then. I don't know if this is the same era. I'm terrible at knowing this stuff, but as we all know, I'm watching Marvelous Mrs. Maisel right now.
Yes.
And then I think it's just the first season. They kind of let it go now, but she's obsessed with taking her measurements and everything being even all the time. She measures her ankle, her calf, her thigh, her waist, everything. And, you know, the wives, like, they wait till they go to bed and they wait till their husbands to fall asleep, and then they go wash off their makeup, and then they make sure they wake up early and get ready, and then go back in bed and pretend they wake up that way. Like, it was crazy back then.
I think, I hope that in our lifetime, it stops being crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there's still crazy shit we do now to our bodies and have these expectations, and it's always, it's always changing, you know.
I think
one year everyone should have gigantic boobs and a tiny butt, and then the next year everyone should have a huge ass, and nobody cares about boobs anymore. And
I know it's just always changing anyways.
Yeah, and then it's like we should all have thin eyebrows. Oh, now grow them out. Oh, everyone get big, huge lips. Oh, we don't care about that anymore. It's just like
I know in like 10 years no one's gonna care about that.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And like men, it's just like, here, put on this suit. And that's kind of changed. That hasn't really changed much ever.
No.
I'm glad for the self-expression we get out of our clothing and our makeup and our hair, but you know, I'm like, I love that that's sort of like the norm for women, and I get to be a part of that. And I also love that there's men and non-binary people embracing the wildness that there is to express in that way. But in terms of just sort of the like heteronormative like men versus women thing, I think it would be boring to be like a straight cis dude that's just expected to like wear the same clothes every day. I'm glad I get to, you know, express myself and whatever and all of that, but it's pretty crazy. And the money we spend, oh my god.
Yeah.
Craig, 38, no wrinkles, barely washes his face. I'm 30. For 10 years I've been buying expensive eye cream and nice, you know, and I go get laser facials and all this stuff, and I'm grateful that I get to do it, and I take care of myself in that way, and I love it. But it's just like, you know, the money we spend on makeup, the money we spend on freaking tampons or hygienic products, like our clothes cost more and they're less well made. When I worked for Deckers Brands, which owns UGG, Teva, Hoka 11, which is actually Hoka One, and I don't know, a couple other brands, but the people that own UGG, they told us we charge more for women's shoes because they'll pay for it, but it actually costs more to make the men's shoes because they buy for comfort. So they don't bother making the women's shoes comfortable because we'll buy them anyways.
This is so validating.
This is a real thing.
Because I've always had a hard time shoe shopping because every pair of shoes is uncomfortable on me.
Yeah, no. Women's shoes, women's clothing, there is no thought to it being comfortable for the most part. Unless it's like our athletic wear. I mean, that's pretty much it, I feel like. There's no concern, no thought. But when it comes to men, it's all about how comfortable it is, how convenient it is, how, you know,
like
the
long lasting,
the logistic, the long lasting, the durability, the breathability. And then they're like, here, this is pink, and we're like, great, we'll buy it. And I don't know how to change that. I don't know, you know, fast fashion has a lot to do with it, and I'm guilty of loving to eat that shit up. I love shopping, I love having new stuff, I love dressing in new crazy fast fashion type styles, but like, yeah, like men's clothing and shoes, they literally spend more money making their stuff, but they charge us more. It's
the pink tax. But you know what's interesting? We could talk for hours about all the inequities of womanhood, because there are many, and I still wouldn't trade.
No.
I'm so proud and so happy, and I feel really grateful that I feel like so at home in my body.
Me too.
I know that's not everybody's experience. But we have so much like power and beauty and magnetism, and we, you know, give life, and
we do.
We get to wear.
Oh my god! I wanted to tell a funny story actually, because of course the headlines right now, there was the leaked Supreme Court document.
Oh yeah, we could talk about that.
Abortion. And I don't want to talk too much about it, because if anyone's sensitive to that topic, I don't want to fill your ears with it. But I have to tell you my first memory of like learning about abortion.
Okay.
So I was in elementary school, and I went to a Catholic elementary school, and we got an assignment during like Women's History Month to do a book report. Remember book reports?
Yes.
To do a book report on a woman in history. So I went to the library. We went to our computers in the library or whatever. The whole class went so we could search for someone we wanted to do a book report for. And then part of the process was learning how to like look up the title in the library and then being able to like read and figure out where in the library to find the book. Remember doing that?
The digital Dewey Decimal System.
Mm-hmm. So I find this woman named Margaret Sanger or Sanger, I don't know. We'll just call her Margaret. I think I was like, oh, I want to learn about someone who was like a woman's activist. So I typed that in. And so I go get this book from the library. I'm just going to keep reminding you, this is a Catholic school. So I go get this book from the library and I bring it home and I'm reading it. And so who Margaret Sanger is she's a woman's activist. She was involved in like our right to vote a little bit, I think. But her biggest thing that she worked on was making birth control accessible. Once upon a time, it was actually illegal. It was illegal to educate women. It was illegal to give out birth control. It was illegal to hand a woman a pamphlet that taught us about our cycles and how to try to not have a baby. So I'm reading this book about her story and like her life and whatever. And so she was actually someone who was against abortions. She was not for it. She was for birth control, against abortions. But this book had these graphic stories in it, and this is 5th grade. I actually vividly remember this is 5th grade because I was an OLP and I had Mrs. Lauder as my teacher. There's graphic stories in this book of her going, so she would visit low-income neighborhoods. She would talk to women and she was passionate about this because her mother died when she was young because of she had her like 11th baby, and she died because it was so hard on her body to have this 11th child. So this is why she's passionate about this, about birth control. So she's going to these low-income areas, hearing women's stories, trying to spread the word of like how to understand your cycle, trying to like kind of secretly give out birth control or like where to get it. And there's all these stories about women, this is what stood out to me. One of the main stories was about a woman named Sadie. So I'm a little girl. Sadie. I'm like, how old are you in 5th grade? Like 11?
10, yeah.
10. I'm reading about this woman named Sadie who had like 8 children. She had just gotten pregnant again. She was like, I cannot have this baby. She goes to somebody illegally, and basically has like a coat hanger situation, and she dies. That's her story in the book. Very sad. But this book is graphic. It's giving me fucking details, and I'm like, why was this in my library? But then I have to do a book report on it, and little me, I'm just like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do a book report. So I'm in Catholic school in 5th grade, and I'm like, Margaret Sanger was an advocate for birth control. Because I don't know if you know this, but if you're a strict Catholic, like, you do not use birth control. That is also bad, along with being against abortions.
Ay.
And I think my teacher was like, but I got the book from the library, so I couldn't I didn't get in trouble or anything, but I could just see on everyone's faces was like, and I don't know, I was like, I got to do this. This is who I chose. But that's how I learned about that stuff, it was a really interesting book. I don't know what the book was called. I actually couldn't remember the woman's name, and I was trying to do some Googling because I at first thought, I was like, I think she was for abortions, and that's how I learned what they were. But to me, that little, and reading those stories, I was like, well, why wouldn't they allow women to have these procedures if they're going to do them because they're desperate? Like, we have to like have access to this. I couldn't believe it. So that's a little history behind how I learned about that stuff. And so it's really bizarre to me that we're still fighting about this. To me, it feels like a very simple, obvious right that we need to have. And it's very infuriating. And I don't want to say a lot more than that. If anyone wants to chat about it, I'm open to privately. But I had to share that was just something in 5th grade. I read this very graphic book, and I was just like, Oh my God. But I think that really, like, I was in the Catholic Church for so long and learned that like birth control was bad and abortion was bad or whatever. But I always had this book that I had learned from and read these stories, and I was like, I don't know if that's right. Like, and I'm grateful that I read that book. And so I sort of started thinking about what it meant to be a woman and have access to these things from a young age. During that young age, I was sort of being told the opposite.
Right.
So I'm grateful for that experience, and I hope that this leaked stuff isn't what ends up happening. And if it does, we will, or at least I will, figure out ways we can take action, places we can give. We're also very fortunate in California, the people here. I mean, I don't plan on needing this. I'm in a long-term stable relationship. I'm 30. I'm grateful to be in a place where it doesn't worry me to not have access to this, but California will still have access. But I know my home state of Wisconsin, it would be in danger. So I will definitely...
Well, the problem is, like, even if we live here, like, if you were to be at home with your family and be pregnant and like something came up where if they didn't terminate the pregnancy, like, you would die, they wouldn't do it.
Right. It's just bizarre to me that we're still having this argument. I'm like, it's fucking 2022.
I know. If it's not for you and you don't believe in it,
just don't have one.
Then don't do it. And that's your choice, and you're right. And I feel like it's that simple. I think the biggest thing for me, the way I learned about abortions is because like a great-grandmother or a great-great-grandmother in my family, that's how she died.
Oh, wow.
She had, I think, 3 or 4 daughters, and she got pregnant again, and she did not want to have this baby. And so, you know, there was not access to safe pregnancy, like terminating a pregnancy safely. And so I don't know what she did or who she went to, but she bled to death, and that was the end of her. And my great grandma grew up kind of raising all of her little sisters, and it was not fun for her. So that my earliest lesson in it was like, thank goodness it's like safe and legal, because what people aren't understanding is people are going to try to end a pregnancy no matter what.
It doesn't stop anybody. It just stops safe.
It just, people get hurt. And so I don't know. It's bizarre when we as a country value like the lives of like the idea of a 1 centimeter
less than
thing more than like a fully grown.
Well, and all of the side that argues, well, what's it? I always think like pro-life, and I'm like, yeah, pro our lives. And I'm like, no shit, that's wrong. We're pro-choice. But once that baby is born, they are not going to help you. It's not important anymore. It's just bizarre to me. I'm like, okay, yeah, if you're pro-life, I can respect that only if you are pro-life through and through, all the way through, all lives.
Well, and the life of the mother, the life of the mother.
Like, show me the proof that you actually care about life, because you don't. It's just
I think on a very basic level, like, you know, if it's being presented to you in a certain way of like they're killing babies and it's hurting them, like I can truly wrap my head around why somebody would be against it. Like I truly can. But there's this whole other side of the story that like to neglect that and to just not be willing to look at it is very interesting to me. Like I grew up Catholic, and I have family members to this day who repost stuff whatever about pro-life and whatever, and I'm just like, I can understand when you have this perspective shown to you and you don't choose to try and see it from all the perspectives. I can understand how people, I can understand like why people in my life are like have this viewpoint. I'm like, okay, but you have to choose to go and see the other perspective. I've chosen to try and see it from your perspective.
And I can see very clearly that I have to value the life of the person that is here and now, and that deserves to have a choice and like live their life how they want to. And I don't think people are taking the decision lightly. Like, I have close friends who have made that choice, and it wasn't a choice they made lightly, and it was a choice that I'm really, really proud of them for making for themselves.
Mm-hmm. And even if they do choose it lightly, it's nobody's business.
It's not. I'm like, yeah, I'm just like, mind your fucking business, dude. If it's not for you, fine. But
it's hard for me to see.
For somebody else, that's, it's just like, that's not your problem.
It's hard for me to see like panels of men discussing it.
Who've 1000% have had multiple mistresses who have had abortions. I tell you what.
Probably. It's just like, if we're going to vote on this, let's have the people who would be affected vote on it.
Yeah, let's get all the women together.
People who have
seriously
uteruses, who can carry a child, are the ones who should make this decision.
Yes.
End of story, in my opinion. And it's like, the older I get, it's like I am able to see like, okay, I understand where the well-meaningness is trying to come from, of fighting for like I can get it, but there's nothing that would change my mind. There's nothing.
No, because people are gonna try and do it anyways, so we need to make it safe. And
I know.
Yeah. Anyways. Got a little serious for a sec, but
it did. But it's a very real spooky thing happening right now. And then here, this is me like zooming out to like a conspiracy moment.
Yes.
Maybe it's not even a conspiracy. I feel like this country loves to keep us stressed out. Like the second something gets better. And you feel like your nervous system can relax.
Yeah.
Like right now, I was like, okay, everything has reopened in Los Angeles. We're coming out of the
pandemic.
I'm going to the gym without a mask. The numbers are down. Once it's like, the second we relax, they're like, oh, just kidding. Here's another thing.
They slide another thing across the table and they're like, have you seen this?
That absolutely could have just been left. Like, leave it alone.
I don't understand. I'm like,
like, this was already settled and situated, and
I don't understand. I don't understand why we need to be talking about it.
I mean, there's
and that might be ignorant. I'm just like, we already have had that whole thing, Roe v. Wade, that happened. Let's all fucking move on. Like,
I know.
Are you like, why are we bringing up bullshit, man?
It's not against the law to hunt, but I don't want to hunt, so I'm not going to go shoot an animal.
Yeah.
But it's not against the law, and those who want to hunt and eat the deer meat,
go right ahead.
Have at it. Like, I know it's a different. Well, no, it's not. It's I guess ending a life.
It's terminating something.
But it's just like, we have choices, and it's like, you don't have to do it just because it's available to you.
Yeah.
Weed is legal where I live right now. I don't have a desire to smoke. Yeah. But I'm not trying to make it illegal. I just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, just make your own decisions. Like, and just mind your own business almost.
The world would be a better place if we all minded our
just
fucking
MYOB. Oh my God. And stay out of my freaking uterus.
It's bananas. And for anyone feeling stressed out and angry and upset, same.
Big same.
And I don't know. It's just one of those things where we feel kind of helpless, I think.
I know, because even like, I haven't even reposted anything because I just don't know what it does. Mm-hmm. Like, it's hard for me to.
Yeah, I know it.
You know, like, I want to do something that will do something.
Yeah, I think honestly that one of my biggest drives for being a rich bitch, for being like, I have so much money, I don't even know what to fucking do with it, is because I'm going to give so much money to all of the things where I'm like, this is bullshit that this is still this way. And I'm going to give as much money as I possibly can and still live my bougie luxurious life, because I get to do both. But that's just one of the things where I'm like, well, I know that money is power. That's the way it is. So if I have money to give to, you know, I'm been seeing like where in Wisconsin could I like give money if this shit goes down, or I mean I could do it now, but that's kind of like one of many drives to just be really, really rich, is be like, I can throw my money at that because there's power in it, and it's a good thing when it's in the hands of good people. So
absolutely. I also like making phone calls. I've left a lot of messages.
Oh, I can see Juliet leaving some strongly worded voicemails.
A lot of messages for things that just enrage me.
Yeah.
And if you're listening and you're like, I want to do something and I want somebody to hear me, that's sometimes a good move.
Leave voicemails. I've done a lot of the, like, you can find like email templates, and it's like everyone like email this, signing petitions, like there's tons of things you're right, you can do without like spending money. And if you do want to do that, like giving $5 makes a difference. Like that, if 100 people give $5, hey, that's $500. That's amazing. So did I do the math right? Yeah.
Oh, I don't, what were the numbers?
5 and 100. 500. But just knowing that, like, yeah, I hate feeling helpless when shit goes down in our country, which it's fucking always going down.
I know. Can it just be like a quiet month?
There's always more that I hope becomes better for people in our country, but you know, there's things we can do, and I try my best to do them.
And in this case, again, like with the car, like look for the helpers. Look for the helpers, you know, look for what actions we can take. I think that's like the big lesson of today. Like, you know, how many people are on the Supreme Court? 7, 9, 11? 12? I should know this. Yeah, let's find out.
I think it's like 12 or 13.
I still think it's crazy that 10 people just make all the decisions.
I know, supposedly we have balance of power, but
I don't know. Sadie's looking up how many people.
9. You were right when you said 9. You said a lot of numbers, but you were right one time.
Of them. So it's like, okay, what can we do? I can't control how they think and feel at this moment, but what can I do? What can we do?
Oh, sometimes it's less and sometimes it's more. The number has ranged between 5 and 10, but since 1869 it's been 9.
Oh.
I didn't finish reading the sentence. Anyways, oh boy, we got to get going so we have time to eat before our call.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Thank you for
letting us pour our hearts out today.
Yes.
Between Sadie, we started off with Sadie's snakes.
My Sadie's snakes. I'm gonna coin that.
Then we traveled to the land of car thievery and car retrieval.
Grand Theft Auto.
And then we talked about a little bill called Roe v. Wade.
And here we are.
And how we will do everything. We will fight the good fight with you to make sure it does not go anywhere. Because that would be horrendous.
Yes, it would.
And dangerous. And scary and sad. And we deserve better than that.
We do. So take care of yourself, goddesses. If you've been feeling some type of way, like you said, this country likes to keep us on our fucking toes. Oh my God,
they love stressing us out.
And, you know, maybe we'll look up some good resources and we could post some in the show notes.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And make sure you're following us on Instagram at Goddess Hangs. I am Sadie Olson.
I'm at Juliet.Piper.
Make sure you check out our Goddess Hangs BFF Patreon. We have the most fun Discord community. And ever. If you join our Coven tier, where we meet once a month, the last Wednesday of every month, we had a really fun meeting last month that you can check out the replay. We did channeled art. And this month, we're going to do a really fun call. We're going to do deity work.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about deities. Juliet and I are going to share more about our stories, a little more in depth about the work we've been doing. I don't think I've actually talked about a deity I'm working with right now. So that's going to be exclusive to the Patreon. I have some juicy stories about that. And so we'd love for you to join in the fun, link in the show notes, and check out Juliet's Creatrix U.
Oh, thank you. And check out Sadie's Hot Juicy Magic.
Yes, we love you all. Take care of yourself. Find the empowering perspective when looking at your challenges this week, and we will talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.